Hello everyone, welcome. Evan here, and it's Wednesday, so you know we're talking about new X-Men comics. And also you can see, while we're talking about these new issues that came out today, I'll be working on some art. I've got some Apocalypse and Psylocke art. Maybe you can't tell it's her, but this is Psylocke's legs, and Apocalypse is facing her. And also over here, some Mystique. I think I may just get to this piece of Apocalypse pencil art and ink it today, but we'll see how it goes, because I'm thinking these are going to be fairly short reviews. There were only 2 issues that came out today, and that's a funny thing to say about X-Men comics. Like, there's so many that come out every month that it does seem like a light week when there's only 2 issues of X-Men stuff. And it almost seems like this is not the initial schedule they wanted. I know they've had some shipping dates missed and some have slipped over the preceding months, but I would think Marvel would want like a bigger release on any given week than just Marauders and Excalibur. Not that they're bad titles, I enjoy them, but they're definitely, X-Men spin-off titles. It doesn't have the same draw as, say, a new #1 issue or the main X-Men title or a special issue like we got last week in the week before, because we got Giant Size X-Men last week. We got Wolverine 1 the week before that. And this week we got Marauders #9 by the team of Jerry Duggan and Matteo Lolli, the team you signed up for. No more fill-in issues here. So that's nice. If you like the guys that are normally supposed to do the title, you really enjoy this, I think. They're back. They're back with a vengeance. And then over on Excalibur, a little bit of that was drawn by Marcus Toe, but I think also Wilton Santos is doing some of the art for this too. So he's a fellow artist. He's good, but if I had my choice, I would prefer just Marcus Toe on the book, please. But looking ahead next week, before I start spoiling this week's issues, it looks like we are getting some more, giant size X-Men specials, a new #1. But will people like it? Cable #1 is coming out next week, and I'm curious what people's thoughts are on that. Like, are you looking forward to it? Because this isn't the Cable that I grew up with, that most people grew up with. This is an old man, grizzled war vet Cable. This is like sassy teenage Cable, and I'm not entirely sure personally what the appeal is there, but if other people like this character, heck, tell me about it. I know Rob Liefeld, the original creator of Cable, has been going off on Twitter this week about how he is the sole creator of this character, despite what others might say, despite who others might try to give credit to. But he's also not happy, I don't think, about this development of Cable as a teenager. And it's like, if it's if you create the character, even if you sell it to Marvel, I can understand that sort of possessiveness that might come with it, and the thinking like, no, this isn't what people want. People don't want teenage Cable, but I don't know, maybe they do. I did read Teenage Cable in the Fallen Angel miniseries that just wrapped up, and it was okay. I mean, it's certainly, again, not as good as Old Man Cable in my opinion, but on the other hand, like when Teen Cable shows up in the main X-Men title by Jonathan Hickman, he's kind of funny there. I think issue 2 of that title, that was kind of funny. He was talking about all the guns he was bringing to Monster Island, or whatever the island was. But anyway, this week, what are we talking about? Let's talk about Marauders first. So Marauders, this is, spoilers ahead, spoilers ahoy. Let's stay consistent with the theme of pirates in the book. Spoilers ahoy. This is a fun issue, but there's not really a lot of tension. The tension goes out of this issue for me almost immediately, because it's like it's all happening basically in whoever's head. It's happening either in Pyro's head or the White Queen's head, because she's the one using telepathic control, or the Cuckoo's, same reason, or it could all just be happening in the mind of Yellow Jacket, the villain of the issue, the ostensible villain. Yellow Jacket, if you're a Marvel Comics fan, you probably think of Yellow Jacket as like, oh, this is a variation of Hank Pym, the Avenger. He's either Ant-Man, he's Giant Man, or he's Yellow Jacket. But if you're more of like an MCU fan, if you just follow the movies mostly, you probably remember Yellow Jacket as the villain Darren Cross in that first Ant-Man movie with Paul Rudd. One of my favorite Marvel films. That was a lot of fun. Really enjoy it. I was wondering, like, this was the first time in the Marvel Comics that I've seen villain Yellow Jacket. And I was like, okay, so is this like synergy? Are we now doing like he's a villain in the movies, so we're now doing he's a villain in Marvel Comics? And yeah, ultimately, I checked up on that. That is what we're doing. So this is Darren Cross, same as the movies, and it's you basically call it that, some form of like between the films and the comics, like synergy between these titles. So now he's the villain, and he's been hired, I think, in this issue by Homines Verendi, the evil humans who are trying to get back at the peaceful mutant island nation of Krakoa for destroying all their profits by giving away these wonderful life-saving medications. That's been the ongoing plot. So what does Yellow Jacket do to get back at the mutants? He shrinks down, and this was in a prior issue. He shrinks down and goes into, it's like an inner space sort of thing, where he goes inside the body of Pyro, one of the Marauders. But there's no real, like I said, there's no real tension here, because almost immediately, like the first couple pages are Pyro shows up on Krakoa, another job well done, and it's like a party, and everyone's happy to see him. So you're suspicious, if you know anything about the character, you're suspicious immediately, because who is ever happy to see Pyro, especially now with this crazy all-black skull tattoo right on his face? Kind of freaks me out. But he shows up, all the other mutants are having a party, everyone's like, Pyro, what's up? It's good to see you, man. Have a drink. And then Jean Grey is there. Jean Grey in her Marvel Girl outfit, lounging on the hood of, I believe, a Firebird. The Smokey and the Bandit card. Smokey and the Bandit car. The old 70s classic sports car. Sports car? Anyway, Firebird, I think. And so they drive off together, and clearly it's a hookup situation. But you're like, okay, this can't be happening. There's no way Marvel Girl. There's no way Jean Grey. She's got her hands full, essentially. We know there's something going on with both Cyclops and Wolverine. Maybe Emma Frost. I don't think she's bringing Pyro into the mix. But they drive off together, and they're listening to, I think they're listening to Freebird, the long version. You play that one at my funeral. What is that? Is that a Joe Dirt reference? I think so. So they drive off, but it's revealed almost immediately the next page or so. This is all just Emma Frost doing not quite mind control, I guess, but she's basically showing she's showing Yellow Jacket, okay, this is what's happening. So he thinks, okay, I'm undercover, but he's not. So there's, again, like I said, for the third time, there's really no tension here. We know almost immediately Emma Frost has got it under control. And even when there's like a feint within a feint, it reminds me, it's like the most recent thing I saw like this that was more about, it wasn't even so much about the tension. It was about all these feints within a feint being ridiculous, and like just the comedy aspect of it. They went full parody. If you saw the last run of Rick and Morty episodes, it was that one where it's like, you son of a, I'm in. It's like they were doing the parody of heist movies. And this isn't quite to that level. It's not a parody. But again, that none of the characters are ever in any real danger, because Emma Frost has got it under control. Even when, it looks like they make Yellow Jacket, they make him believe that he is in control of the situation. They let him think that they know that he is shrunk down and inside Pyro. So he feels like he's been found out. He immediately enlarges, busts through Pyro. So that's kind of gross. That's a gross scene in the book. Not as gory as, say, some of the stuff in X-Force lately, but still a little, always like a little more violent than I would imagine is appropriate for the 9-year-old target audience. I don't know, but, depends on who you ask. Are Marvel Comics actually for young boys anymore? Or is it am I the target audience as a middle-aged man? But he blows through Pyro, and then has a fight, shoots Emma Frost in the head. But again, it's all in his head. This is just Emma Frost making it appear like he's in control. And then what they do is they find out where he's from. They find out who hired him, just read his mind. Then Magneto basically, I think he pulls him out through Pyro's nose and then tosses the tiny submarine, the tiny inner space device out into the ocean. go back from when she came, and that's it. And then, Emma Frost and Pyro appear telepathically to the young children, the Hominis Verinde inner circle. I'm not quite sure what the setup is there. And threaten them and say, don't ever do it. We didn't kill anybody, but if you do it again, we might. Fair warning, buddy. So that's that. And, there's also a bit of foreshadowing for upcoming issues. Spoiler alert again, Kitty Pryde's still dead. And if you look at the solicitations, like the cover of issue 11, we're on issue, now? Issue 11 has a funeral on the cover, I think, for Kitty Pryde. They give her a Viking send-off. So she's dead for at least another 2 issues. But again, you can't fool me. I'm going to sound like Chico Marx here for a second. Like, you can't fool me. There ain't no sanity clause. You can't fool me. There's not going to be... She's not dead. Shadowcat's not dead. So, as long as they want to go on with that story, that's okay. But I don't believe it. And also a little bit of foreshadowing for if you're looking forward to a new number 1. Actually, no, sorry. This is the other one. This is an Excalibur. So let's move on to Excalibur. And I'll just start at the end, because it doesn't really have a lot to do with the main plot. But at the end of Excalibur, there's some foreshadowing for the upcoming volume of X Factor. And I will just say, when it comes to X Factor, I am not necessarily the world's biggest fan of that spinoff title of the X-Men. And I really think there is a high mark of about 30 issues. You could probably guess exactly what those 30 issues are. But from about when Willis Portacio came on the title in Volume 1, late 80s, early 90s, around like issue 60 or so, and then up to, including when Peter David starts writing it with Larry Stroman on art, the all-new, all-different X Factor, issue 71, and then running through when Jay Lee does a couple of issues and when Joe Quesada does a couple of issues around the late 80s, early 90s. So basically that run from 60 to 92, we'll say, is peak X Factor in my eyes. Like, that's the good stuff. Peter David writing it, great series of artists with Larry Stroman, key, and then also Jay Lee and Joe Quesada. And then before that whole run started, there was a bit where, they send baby Nathan into the future, and Willis Portacio is drawing that. And so that's the good stuff. But other than that, like, X-Force, or not X-Force, X-Factor has always, to me, been kind of an also-ran title of the X-Men universe. And it's like, even from the beginning, it was kind of editorial fiat. They had to bring back the original 05 X-Men and have them be in a title together. So that really screwed up the whole Madeline Pryor and Scott Summers marriage. So, I've always, for that reason primarily, and just for the fact that, all these hundreds of issues, it's never really appealed to me that much. Although I know there are fans of the X Factor sort of private investigations, the volume 2 and 3 stuff. And when it went back to the legacy numbering, like around 200, that was done by Peter David again. And I think maybe Ryan Sook on art for a while. He at least did the covers. But I know people are fans of that. It's not my favorite, but I might go back and reread it if someone recommended it. But anyway, they got a new volume of X Factor coming out. And is that all just a really long way of me saying I'm not looking forward to it? I don't know. I'll give it a chance. But there is some foreshadowing here. Rachel Gray shows up at the end of Excalibur 8. And it's like, you need something to do. And it's like asterisk, footnote. If you would like to see what Rachel ends up doing, go check out X Factor, coming soon to your local comic store. But the main plot of this Excalibur, I'll talk about this real quick, is a conclusion of essentially the 2-part story starting last issue, where they had to hunt werewolves with one of the Bloodstone family, who, if you're like me, Elsa Bloodstone, most famously for appearances in Warren Ellis and Stuart Amonin's Next Wave, as well as she had her own miniseries back in the early 2000s that was not bad, as I remember it, but I haven't read it in 20 years. So she's not in this. Her brother or cousin or uncle, I'm not sure which, but Cullen Bloodstone, one of the other Bloodstone line, is in this. And there's this weird sort of back and forth throughout this issue about like, okay, we're all going to hunt werewolves together and we're getting along fine, Bloodstone and the mutants. And then like he throws a fit and he's like, I hate you guys. Now we're fighting. He's like, I'm sorry, we should be civilized. Let's go in and have a drink. And it's like, maybe it's just because he's drunk, because he does appear to have like a cocktail in pretty much every scene of this issue. And he also makes kind of an inappropriate pass at Richter. So Richter runs away from that. And then he's like, okay, Bloodstone's drunk. Let's go get these werewolves. So then there's like a final fight, because the whole thing, the setup from the last issue was they got to get these werewolf skulls. They got to kill all the werewolves. It's fine. They're aliens. We don't really care. They might be intelligent, but they're not that intelligent. So it's whatever. Just knock them out. Cut off their heads. Because Apocalypse, pictured here, needs these werewolf skulls. He needs to wipe out the werewolf population for, some magic stuff, essentially. And they're the X-Men or Excalibur totally plan on doing that, except they find a baby they're perfectly fine killing the mama and the papa, right? They kill all the adult werewolves, and then they find a baby, and they're like, oh, well, he's very cute, so we can't kill this guy, even though that's what we came here to do. But they also, it's crazy because, like, Betsy Braddock, Captain Britain, she's like, okay, we're not going to kill this baby, but we're also not going to take care of it. We're dumping this on Rachel Gray, and that's the end of the issue. So she gives the child to Rachel, and that's it. And will this werewolf appear in X Factor 1? Who knows? I don't know. We'll look forward to it. But anyway, that's these two issues. So, yeah, that's X-Men this week. Again, it was a short one, but, that's fine. So I guess I'll just talk a bit about what's coming up. It's crazy. They're also, each issue of the X-Men universe, all the spin-off titles has not previews, but they have a list of the upcoming issues. And even though these issues both came out this week, Marauders 9, Excalibur 8, they've got a different checklist for what's coming up. Most of it's the same, but they mixed up the giant size. I'm pretty sure the giant size that comes out March 25th is going to be the one about Nightcrawler. And then next month in April is the one about Magneto. So they mixed that up in one of these issues. And also there's, they're not quite sure yet when the next issue of Excalibur is going to come out, when the next issue of New Mutants is going to come out. But that's fine as long as, next week is X-Men 8, I want to say. So as long as that's correct, as long as we're getting the new X-Men next week, then I'm fine. Because that's the one I'm here for, guys. I get most excited about the X-Men proper. And the other stuff it's all right too, and it's nice to stay informed. But hey, if you just stayed informed by watching review videos on YouTube, wink, hint, hint, that would be okay by me too. And the new Wolverine, as long as Adam Kubert's drawing that Wolverine book, I'm down. I'm with it. So I'm going to start wrapping it up here. Call it a day. Thanks for joining me if you watched it live. Thanks for watching later if you do so at any time. And remember, if you like the video, hey, take a moment, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and do that, please. And tap the bell for notifications. And if you're an artist yourself, keep drawing. It's the only way to get better. And until next time being, I'm thinking Saturday night. So join me then. We'll go live again. We'll talk more comics, movies, TV, video games, whatever's happening. Maybe the new Final Fantasy demo. I haven't played that yet, but I might talk a bit about that. But anyway, thanks for joining me. That's it. And I'll see everybody next time. See ya.